Hello and good evening. Today in New Jersey and all across the United States, Verizon workers are continuing to protest the unfair and unjust agreements with their working benefits. The protesters preach that their bosses have failed to come together with employees to discuss a mutual agreement of benefits that should be put in place. Records show that the last time this contract was discussed was back in 2011, and during that, many employees protested for a long 2 weeks. They ended up getting what they desired and showed their large-scale corporation, which is Verizon, that they have control. The reason for the nationwide protest this year was because of the contract those employees fought hard to get expired last August. This had many unions like the CWA and the IBEW allowing for a strike over the reasons the employees gave. In a statement made by the CWA, they say, Verizon's corporation greed isn't just harming workers' families, it's hurting customers as well. If their voices are heard and understood, employees would have successfully negotiated with the big powerhouse company. This is leaving big politicians and other current spotlights like presidential candidate Bernie Sanders throwing support towards the supporters. Now folks, you might be thinking that this is a familiar situation that happened in the Roaring '20s. Yes, you guessed it, it's right, the big old Boston police strike, steel mill strike, and even the coal mill strike. The Boston police strike in 1929 was caused by employees getting fed up with low wages and salary raises. This sadly resulted in death, job loss, and costly bills for damages. The steel mill strike was fought for higher wages, union recognition, and fewer work hours. And lastly, the coal miners' strike was in place to get rid of low wages as well, and long work days. These three historic events relate to Verizon's strike because they all had employees being taken advantage of over wages, hours, benefits, and because of their determination, they all resulted in protests, even resignations, and job loss. As it can be seen, protests occur throughout time because of unfair benefits and treatments corporations think that they can do to employees. Huh? What's that? Currently, we're getting word from another newscaster that there has been a development in the story. There has been a tentative deal made by the unions to end the strike. This deal takes back a proposal for pension cuts and allows for more flexibility to subcontract work and relocate employees. We're getting a quote from Chris Sheldon, who is the president of the Communications Workers of America, which is CWA, as he said something before. This contract is a victory for working families across the country and an affirmation of the power of the working people. Current strikers are now rejoicing with their new win and look to a new future and are already planning to work this Wednesday. They will take home an overall 11% increase in pay as well. Stay tuned for a follow-up on this developing story. Good night.
There has been a lot of debate lately about whether or not Donald Trump is fit to be our next president in the United States. His lack of political experience and background has caused people to be skeptical of his position as a presidential candidate. Trump has bragged about how well his businesses have done, but no major U.S. company has filed for Chapter 11 more than Trump's casinos in the past 30 years. Trump has also donated money to both Republicans and Democrats in the past. His top 10 recipients are 4 Republicans and 6 Democrats, so this has sparked controversy in the Republican Party. His ideas for the future, the broad statements he makes on how he's going to better the country, have rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
We have a country. You need borders and you need law.
I said that for decades. I've been saying that, but you are not going to be able to deport people who have American citizenship now, and the federal courts will never allow mass deportations without due process for each and every one. And do you envision federal police kicking in the doors in barrios around the country, dragging families out and putting them on a bus? Do you envision that?
Bill, I don't think they have American citizenship, and if you speak to some very, very good lawyers, and I know some would disagree, but many of them agree with me, you're going to find they do not have American citizenship.
His situation here is similar to that of George Wallace because people also viewed him as unable to run the country and did not feel that he represented his party properly either. Here's a clip of a commercial for Johnson describing why Wallace is also unfit.
This man scares me. Now, maybe I'm wrong. A friend of mine has said to me, listen, just because a man sounds a little irresponsible during a campaign doesn't mean he's going to act irresponsibly. You know that theory that the White House makes the man I don't buy that.
Here's an interview we had with Mrs. Rodriguez showing how she feels about Trump potentially being our president.
Hello. Today I'm here with Miss Maria Rodriguez, and we're going to talk about her views on Donald Trump. So, Maria, how are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. So, the first couple questions I had for you, the first one is, what did you know about Trump before he was running for president?
Well, I did know that he was a very rich man, and he had like casinos in Atlantic City.
Right.
He had like these big buildings in New York, and he had a TV show. I didn't ever, like, I think I watched it 1 or 2 times, the TV show, but
The Apprentice, right?
The Apprentice, but I didn't really watch it that much, but that's pretty much that. He was like a very, rich man and known man, but that's all I knew.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you view him as a real Republican or not? What's your opinion on that?
As not like, I didn't view him like as a very conservative person, so I don't think he's a Republican. But,
Right.
That's what I think. That he might, I don't know why it ran in the Republican Party, but
Yeah.
I think maybe to have their support, from the party.
Right, he needed to.
Because if he runs by himself as a new party, you wouldn't have the votes. So I think he ran on the Republican Party to have votes.
Right.
Because of the votes.
So how do you think Donald Trump will represent the United States if he is elected?
I don't think he's a good. If he becomes the president of the United States, he's not going to be a good president because of the when he talks too much. He talks just about. He shows that he's a racist and he doesn't like. He's like doesn't like other people actually to come to this country, and as I as a
Immigrant?
an immigrant, I think that's ridiculous because this country is an immigrant country.
Yeah, it's a
So-
melting pot.
Yeah. So and other things that he talks about, like that, he wants us to go back to years before, like in a lot of issues,
Yeah.
which is not like good for America. I
Right.
think so.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's what I think.
Do you believe that Donald Trump is running on a political platform, or do you think that he's relying solely on people's emotions to get elected?
I think he's relying on people's emotions because he's not a politician, and that's what he said. People get emotional and mad when they hear him. That's why they
Right.
they like him and they think he's gonna do. I'm not sure if they like what he says, but that's their showing of emotions.
By giving him votes.
But yeah, giving him a vote. Yeah.
Okay. So considering that Donald Trump has come this far in the presidential race, what do you think this says about the status of America's political awareness? Like, what does this say about America?
It says that people are tired of other governments not doing what, and other presidents not doing what they promised to do, and now they're trying a person that is out of politics,
Who's not a politician?
who is not a politician, and but he's not the right person, and that says that
Scary, right?
that is really scary.
That America's left.
That's scary about that America's let he go this far, like
Yeah.
almost getting
It's
elected.
crazy, really.
Almost getting elected. So I
It's
don't know.
crazy. So the last question I want to ask is, Do you think that Trump's previous popularity has had much of an effect, much of an impact on this election so far?
I think yes, really. I think it actually had a lot of
Impact?
impact
Yeah.
on the election, and I think everybody knew him in the county, like everybody, even outside, in other
Right.
outside
He was already
the
famous.
United States, everybody knows him. So, I think that it had a huge impact on the elections. So,
How do you think
but,
it helped
people-
him?
that helped him because he knew, people knew him, and the things that he says, like makes that he says, like about building the wall, nobody else comes here and take your job and everything. That's people's fears. And says that about building the wall, and that like they come and get your job and everything, so people think that that's going to be real, that's going to be
Right.
true. So
He's-
from now on, it's only us and we have all the jobs that we want and stuff.
He's playing with people's fears.
Yeah, it's been, that's right.
Okay, so that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Miss Maria Rodriguez, for talking with me about Mr. Donald Trump. I hope.
You're welcome,
Thank you so much.
and thanks for having me.
You're welcome.